Good afternoon. I'm Rabbi Camille Shira Angel. I'm the rabbi of a local synagogue just a few blocks away, Congregation Sha'ar Zahav, which was founded 30 years ago by gay and lesbian Jews looking for a place for their friends and families to feel safe and Jewish. We're gathered here today at the Pink Triangle Park and Memorial, which commemorates the lives of gays, lesbians, bisexual, and transgender Jews and non-Jews who died in the Holocaust, a fitting place for this press conference to take place. I want to begin by thanking the various organizations that organized today's press conference: San Francisco-based Jewish Community Relations Council, Holocaust Center of Northern California, the Anti-Defamation League, the American Jewish Committee, Blue Star PR, and the San Francisco Voice for Israel. Today represents a coming together of members of our community, Jews and non-Jews, who are concerned about and take seriously the Iranian nuclear threat and the human rights abuses perpetrated by the Iranian regime. This is a regime that denies the Holocaust, threatens to destroy Israel, oppresses members of the Baha'i faith, and persecutes the LGBT community. It poses a serious threat to the West and to global stability. On the eve of Iranian President Mahmoud Ahmadinejad's visit to the United Nations, we are joining together with communities across the country to draw attention to the multi-layered threats posed by the current Iranian regime. We believe that if the world takes this threat seriously and increases its pressure on Iran through economic and diplomatic means, we can resolve this crisis peacefully. That is our aim: greater action now. We advocate for increased diplomatic and economic pressure, including divestment from Iran, in order to avert a confrontation later.
Thank you very much. Thank you. What an appropriate place for us to meet here today at Pink Triangle Park as we talk about these sort of issues. If this were just an issue for the Jewish community, I would be here anyway. But it is more than just an issue for the Jewish community. It is also an issue for the LGBT community. We know that this president of this country, of Iran, has denied that gays and lesbians exist in his country. Obviously, we know that not to be true, because if you look at these pictures, this is what happens to some of the gays and lesbians that are found in that country. We must always stand for reaching out and talking to people of all sorts, but we cannot stand by and give a voice at such a high level in such a prominent place to a man who would make as a goal the annihilation of the country of Israel and the continued persecution of gays and lesbians in his country. We stand here together as a community, united by our resolve to stand for freedom and peace and honor. And I have had the privilege of speaking at World Pride. I have had the privilege of being part of the opening ceremonies here at Pink Triangle Park. I've been to the Holocaust Museum in Jerusalem. And one thing after another that we all must remember is that we must never forget, and we must always stand against this kind of tyranny. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I have a message for the President of Iran. I'm Ralph Samuel, and how dare he say that there was no such thing as the Holocaust. I'm here to tell him that I am a survivor of that Holocaust. I wonder if the President of Iran has children. I wonder if he would put his children on a train or on an airplane alone and send them to another country with the understanding they would probably never see their children again. That's what my mother and my father did in 1939 when they sent me to England alone. I didn't speak a word of English, and I survived. in England and eventually came to America. Mr. President of Iran, my father died in Auschwitz. My grandmother died in Theresienstadt. How can you possibly say there was no such thing as the Holocaust? I wish you to believe me. Thank you so much.
This year marks the 10th anniversary of the UN Declaration of Human Rights Defenders, which affirms the protection of human rights defenders from violence or threat. But that doesn't seem to be happening in Iran. There are women who are going around in Iran trying to get 1 million signatures asking for better rights for women. These women have been put in jail. Iran has sentenced 4 women's rights activists to 6 months in jail, including one who was awarded a $75,000 human rights prize in Sweden this year. She was not allowed to go to Sweden, but she was allowed to go to jail. They are clamping down on activists working to change legislation which they say discriminates against women in the Islamic Republic. Iran rejects accusations of bias towards women. A 44-year-old woman was put out to be a prostitute by her husband. He was killed by one of her people who came and had sex with her when he found out what was going on. She was sentenced to 4 years in jail for conspiracy, and she is now awaiting stoning because she had sex outside of marriage. Another woman who was walking with her niece was attacked by men. They tried to rape her and her niece. She killed one of them, and she will be facing the death penalty. If a woman is the sole survivor in a family, her husband dies, she can only get 1/4 of his property. The rest goes to the state. Does this sound like women are treated equally? A man doesn't have to ask his wife if he wants to take more wives. A man doesn't have to talk to his wife if he wants to divorce her and leave her destitute. Iran is not treating women, LGBT members, or anybody fairly. When they say that Israel has no right to exist, they are also saying that women in Iran have no right to their human rights. This is absolutely an impossibility in this day and age. The United Nations stands for rights of all people. They stand for helping human rights defenders, and yet they are allowing the president of Iran to address them. I do not believe that is a correct thing to do. I believe we all must stand together to say, on behalf of women, on behalf of Israel, on behalf of the LGBT community here and in Iran, that we do not want the Iranian president to be able to speak, that we do want the Iranian president to change his ways and grant the same human rights to LGBT citizens and to women in Iran, and to recognize the right of Israel. Thank you.